You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday. Oh, brother. And is it a Monday? We're talking capital M Monday. Let's just make it all capitals. Yeah. Anyway, hope your day's going good. It is the 22nd day of July, 2024. Day that will go down in history, no doubt. Quite some events over the weekend. Market trying to play catch up. It's just not sure which direction it should catch up to. But we'll talk about all that and more during the broadcast. I just want to say thanks for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. First live broadcast is our live training room, which is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not taken your 1-week free trial, when Michael joins us a little later in the broadcast, he will show you step by step exactly how to take the trial. There's no credit card required, and you're getting access to far more than just the live training room for 5 consecutive trading days. We're going to treat you just like you were a member, passport holder. We're going to give you access to every single resource, except, of course, the Thursday night members-only workshop. You'll have access to every resource, including the alerts, the weekly zones. We've got special channels for you in Telegram. We have both public and private channels. You'll have access to the public channels. Now, I say public, but you've got to have the link. And then once your trial's over, that link will be deactivated. So anyway, be sure to pay attention. He'll be showing up, as you can see on our schedule. We start out with a daily devotional, a daily prayer. Then I share some market news. Then I get into a recap of the alerts, the Logic 247 alerts, the Concierge Trade alerts. Then Michael joins us about 12:45, 12:50, gives us a recap of what happened in the live training room. That's also when he'll show you how to take the free trial. Then we'll do some live trading from 1 to 1:30 on the TradingView platform. And then I'll come back, and if I've not finished up the recap of the alerts, I will. And then we'll close out today's broadcast with our good word for the day. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and then come back for this broadcast, which, unlike the first broadcast, this broadcast is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's a couple different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. I'm going to give you the best way first. You only have to do this once. Go to mytradingiq.com scroll down the page to where it says afternoon broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. It's going to get you in same day you do it, if you do it while the broadcast is happening. But more important, going forward, every trading day, you're going to get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit of doing it that way is you have access to the question box so that you can ask questions and be a part of the discussion. Now, there's going to be days when you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you'd still like to join live. And there'll be days when you're just busy, can't join live, but want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is very easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, we're simulcasting in 2 different places. But we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,600 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to the world of CFRN, it is a great way to get to know who we really are. Not just today, not just this week, but thanks to the power of YouTube, you can literally see how we've evolved over the years. You can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Now you're obviously not going to watch them all, but just pick some days at random. Watch a little bit, fast forward a little bit, watch a little bit, jump to another day, week, month, year, do the same thing. Obviously, the more recent broadcasts are going to be more meaningful to you in regards to current market conditions and things going on in the world. So, one more time, youtube.com/CFRN. We are beginning a new devotional topic today. Last week was Heaven's Recall, which I really enjoyed. I hope you did as well. I got something special for you this week. The complete Bible answer book. I'm going to answer all your questions over the next 5 days, starting today. Today's scripture is 2 Timothy 3, verses 14 through 17. And I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. Beginning in verse 14. But don't let it faze you. Now this is Paul writing to Timothy. But don't let it faze you. Stick with what you learned and believed, sure of the integrity of your teachers. Why, you took in the sacred scriptures with your mother's milk. There's nothing like the written word of God for showing you the way to salvation through faith in Christ Jesus. Every part of Scripture is God-breathed and useful, one way or another, showing us truth, exposing our rebellion, correcting our mistakes, training us to live God's way. Through the Word, we are put together and shaped up for the tasks God has for us. And every one of us was created for a purpose. Again, that was 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 14 through 17. So, how do we know that the Bible is divine rather than merely human in origin? To defend the faith, we must be equipped to demonstrate the Bible is divine rather than human in origin. When we accomplish this, we will be able to answer a host of other objections by simply appealing to Scripture. To begin with, the Bible has stronger manuscript support than any other work of classical history. That includes Homer, Plato, Aristotle, Caesar, Tacitus. Equally amazing is the fact that the Bible has been virtually unaltered since the original writing, as is attested by scholars who have compared the earliest manuscripts with manuscripts written centuries later. Additionally, the reliability of the Bible is affirmed by the testimony of its authors who were eyewitnesses or close associates of eyewitnesses to the recorded events, as well as by secular historians. Now, what does that mean, secular historians? Non-believers, who confirm the many events, peoples, places, and customs chronicled in Scripture. Furthermore, archaeology is a powerful witness to the accuracy of the New Testament. Repeatedly, comprehensive archaeological fieldwork and careful biblical interpretation affirm the reliability of the Bible. Archaeological finds have, for instance, corroborated biblical details surrounding the trial that led to the fatal torment of Jesus Christ. Pontius Pilate did order Christ's crucifixion, and Cephas was the high priest who presided over the religious trials of Christ. It is telling when secular scholars must revise their biblical criticisms in light of solid archaeological evidence. The Bible's records of prophecies of actual events that could not have been known or predicted by mere chance or common sense. For example, the book of Daniel, written before 530 BC, accurately foretold the progression of kingdoms, Babylon through the Median and Persian empires, to the further persecution and suffering of the Jews under Antiochus the Fourth, with his desecration of the temple, his untimely death, and freedom for the Jews under Judas Maccabeus, 165 BC. It is statistically preposterous that any or all of the Bible's specific detailed prophecies could have been fulfilled by chance, good guessing, or even deliberate deceit. Join me in a word of prayer. Now remember, we got 4 more days. We're just getting into this. Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us your word so that we as believers may come to know you, to truly have a personal relationship with you. Please help each one of us to read it with discernment and the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. It's in Jesus' name, believe and pray. Everybody said, amen. Amen. And happy Monday, doggone it. Whether it's been a great Monday or not, might as well be happy. Not much you can do to change it, right? Okay, I'm going to give you the numbers from around the world. I'm going to start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices, as they're called. Currently, the Dow's up 14 points. The Nasdaq's up 165, almost 1%. The S&P 500 is up 33. The Russell 2000 is up 9. In the commodity basket, crude oil, and by the way, we have rolled forward now to the U contract in crude. Crude is down 34 cents, trading 79.79 last. Gold is down $9, trading 23.90 last. Silver's down a nickel, trading 29.24 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei, guys, we got to find out what's going on in Japan. I mean, today's nothing. It's only down 464 points today, well over 1%. The Shanghai fell 18, but the Hang Seng gained 218, which is 1.25%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 43, the DAX up 235, which is almost 1.5%, and the CAC up 87, almost 1.25%. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And at the moment, it is a green Radio Monday here in the US of A. Now, it's not a big green day. And by the time this broadcast ends, we could definitely see some changes. So we'll revisit these numbers, all of them, at the end of the broadcast. Okay? All right. Let's get into the news. Crypto is surging again on a new wave of political respect as former President Donald Trump prepares to speak this week at a Bitcoin conference in Nashville. Price of Bitcoin is up more than 13% over the past month and surged above $68,000 in the last 24 hours, putting the world's largest cryptocurrency within striking distance of an all-time high set earlier this year. This week, crypto investors are anticipating several reasons to get more hyped, including the SEC's approvals for big Wall Street money managers to soon issue exchange-traded funds that hold Ether, ETH, the world's second largest cryptocurrency. That's awfully good news for CTG, which has been on the back burner for some time, because for those who know and those who hold, or HODL as it's called, which means hang on for dear life, somebody misspelled hold back in the day, and they got the D and the L transposed, and ever since then, they just used it as an acronym, hang on for dear life. The CTG is built on the Ethereum blockchain. So I think after a lot of waiting, our day in the sun may not be too far away. Now, this one's going to creep you out. You know, I was already upset with Apple and Microsoft because of these hijinks they've been playing in the cloud, letting China use the NVIDIA chips when they weren't supposed to. NVIDIA is now working on a version of its new flagship AI chips for the China market that would be compatible with current U.S. export controls. So, first Microsoft, then Apple, now NVIDIA itself is trying to do an end run around current U.S. law. The AI chip giant, if you never thought, if you've heard people say, oh, it's always about the money, well, apparently it is. The AI chip giant in March unveiled its Blackwell chip series, which is due to be mass-produced later this year. The new processors combine 2 squares of silicon, the size of the company's previous offering. Within the series, the B200 is 30 times faster than its predecessor at some tasks, like serving up answers from chatbots. NVIDIA will work with Inspur, one of its major distributor partners in China, on the launch and distribution of the chip, which is tentatively named the B20. 2 of the sources said. Shipments of the B20 are planned to start in the second quarter of 2025. We still have time for a new president and Congress to put a stop to this treason. And that's what I believe it is. Shares of CrowdStrike plunged 13% today, extended their loss-making streak after Wall Street analysts downgraded the stock on concerns over the financial fallout from a global cyber outage last week. CrowdStrike's glitchy updates to its security software crashed computers powered by Microsoft Windows operating system, disrupting internet services across the globe and affecting a broad swath of industries, including airlines, banking, and healthcare. Microsoft said on Saturday about 8.5 million Windows devices, or less than 1% of all Windows machines, were affected. But here's the deal. The machines affected were at banks, airports, hospitals. While analysts largely expect CrowdStrike to recover from the incident, given its leading position in the industry, concerns about reputational damage, a hit to new customer contracts, competition, and possible legal tussles remain. Now, we don't have a lot of bond traders here at CFRN, but for those of you that do, the U.S. government on Monday unwound some of the trades that were put in place on expectations of a second U.S. presidency of Republican Donald Trump, as U.S. President Joe Biden's exit from the presidential race was seen as improving the Democrats' election odds. Huh? I'll be publishing some editorial pieces in the Breeze channel later today. Biden's decision on Sunday to step aside and endorse Kamala Harris to replace him as the Democratic candidate cast doubt over a Trump victory. I can't even believe I'm reading these words. Have you, the border czar who never once went to the border, who, never mind. If I got to tell you, I wish you luck. Online prediction site Predicle Monday morning showed pricing for a Trump victory slipped 3 cents to 60 cents over the previous 24 hours, while bets on an election win by Harris climbed 13 cents to 38 cents. The market's response to the presumed change to Harris is a slight offset to the Trump trade of renewed inflationary angst, according to analysts at BMO Capital Markets. Long-term U.S. Treasury yields, which move inversely to prices, declined in early trade. Benchmark 10-year Treasury yields were about 2 basis points lower, and 30-year yields were nearly 3 points lower. 2-year yields climbed slightly to 4.5%. Trying times. Gold edged lower as traders mulled President Joe Biden's decision to end his re-election campaign and what it means for Donald Trump's chances of returning to the White House. They just went through the roof. Spot bullion traded just under $2,400 an ounce, erasing earlier gains. Biden said he would serve out his term and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to replace him as a candidate, though she still must secure the official nomination at the Democratic National Convention next month. So he's not fit to run, but he's fit to serve all the way up until January. He redefines what a lame duck candidate means. If you don't know what that means, Google it. Fresh uncertainty helped boost the precious metals' safe haven appeal, while a reversal of the Trump trade could catalyze additional selling activity. At the same time, traders are also weighing signs of buying fatigue in Asia, a key pillar in gold's rally in the first half of the year. The premium gold on the Shanghai Futures Exchange, held against its London counterpart since late last year, has flipped to a discount, signaling falling demand from the Asian nation. Now, gold has surged by more than 15% this year, hitting an all-time high last week. And for those of you that actually understand how the markets work, when you put in a new all-time historic high, what happens? You get a retracement. Trees don't grow to the sky, and neither do markets, any markets. You get a leg and a retracement, then a leg and a retracement, and then a leg, and eventually a much deeper retracement. And I'll stop there. Now, I had the Logic 247 recap ready to go. Valerie, God bless her, just sent me an update. So, give me a second to format it to my screen, and then I'll share it with you. Last week was smoking. I'll show you in a minute. Hang on, almost there. Okay. All right, here we go. Logic 247, that's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis, it's crude, gold, silver, euro, bonds. Now, the Logic alerts are not designed for you to just trade them, so you don't have to learn how to trade. They're designed to help you learn to read a chart so that Michael can then teach you how to trade. Both of us will both teach you, but before we can teach you, you got to learn how to read. It's just like when you were a kid going to school. You couldn't learn anything until you learned how to read the English language if you were born in America. The financial markets have a different language. It's not words or sentences or paragraphs. It's bars or candles and, the indicators and oscillators of your choice. course, we have our own. We're in week 312. Over the last 312 weeks, we've issued over 17,200 individual handcrafted alerts. And we've averaged 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. So since the market opened last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have issued already 25 total alerts, 2 never triggered, but remember, on those never triggers, they remain valid opportunities until triggered. Still waiting on the outcome of 17. A bunch of them I just put out this morning. So far, we've had 6 actionable alerts, and thought I had it ready. Let's try that. There we go. So far, nothing stopped out. Early in the week, needless to say. Some of the markets are pretty close to their highest weekly zone already, and some markets are pretty close to their lowest weekly zone already. It's going to be a very interesting week, let me just say. Now again, over the last 312 weeks, 17,200 plus individual alerts. Averaged on a weekly basis, 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and that very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, again, I use the logic alerts to help you learn how to read the chart the way we read the chart. I'm not going to say that, there's only one way to read a chart and we're the only ones that know how. That would be pompous. But we're going to teach you to read the chart the way we do. And once you've mastered those Logic 247 alerts, and see, the Logic alert comes with an entry price, an initial target, additional targets, and a final trade to target. I want you to master that and be able to duplicate what I do with the Logic alerts. And then we move on to the CTAs. The CTAs, now the Logic alerts can come out 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. around the clock. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. But the CTAs are published as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening. So while a Logic alert can come out anytime, CTAs are going to be published once per session. And yesterday I was able to be in front of the charts as the markets opened. And so we got them out at 6 p.m. Eastern, right at the open. Now down here, that's Pacific time because I'm on Pacific time. The way Telegram works is it reads the clock on your computer. So if you're on the East Coast, it's going to say 6 p.m. down here. If you're in the Midwest, it's going to say 4 or 5, depending upon where you are. See, I'm in Phoenix, and 4 months out of the year, I'm on Mountain Standard Time. And 8 months out of the year, I'm on Pacific time. Because Arizona has chosen, for whatever reason, to not honor daylight savings time. When this report comes out, as it did last night, every one of our members, every one of our trial members had all these targets as soon as the market opened. First thing you want to do go to the 30-minute chart of whatever markets you actually trade. Make a note on that 30-minute chart where price is at this time. Now, it's rarely going to be right at the open. It's usually going to be 6:15, 6:20, 6:30. Sometimes, I have it live. Sometimes it might be 9 p.m. But once it's published, okay? So, you're going to make a note on your 30-minute chart where price was at the time the report was printed, published. Then draw a line in the sand at the long target, line in the sand at the short target. Now, if price gets above the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the long target. Price gets below the 30-minute BBC, it's attempting to reach the short target. The BBC is the green line you'll see on all my charts. Doesn't matter what time frame, but for the purpose of alerts, it's always the 30-minute chart. Nothing magical about 30 minutes. Simply the time frame I chose many years ago. And if it's not broke, don't fix it. Now the BBC again is the green line you see on all my charts. So if price gets above that green line, anticipate higher prices. If price gets below the green line, anticipate lower prices. Now, as I said, for the purpose of the alerts, it's always a 30-minute chart, but you can put the green line on a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a 5-minute, a tick chart, a range chart. And the concept is the same. Relative to whatever time frame you apply it. Price gets above the green line, expect higher prices. Price gets below the green line, expect lower prices. Now, with the logic alerts, I taught you how to read the chart. With the CTAs, you get to look left and see if you've actually learned what I taught you. And you learn how price behaves at a weekly trading zone. This is important because price is always trying to reach a weekly trading zone. From the moment the markets open Sunday night till they close Friday afternoon. If price is above the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the weekly zone above. Price is below the 30-minute BBC, it's trying to get to the weekly zone below. Publish the zones every week for our members since December 14th of 2009. Closing in on our 15-year anniversary, the weekly trading zones. They come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. This gives our traders time to get the zones on their charts before Wall Street even wakes up for the week. Once the zones are published Monday morning, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They do not change in any way whatsoever. Now, all of the alerts that go out Sunday night are based on last week's zones. Because the new zones don't come out till Monday morning, this morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So any alerts that I published last night are based on last week's zones, and all the alerts I've published today are based on this week's zones. Now, when we go to the charts, the zones you see will be last week's zones because the alerts that went out last night were based on last week's zones. But every alert I published today was based on this week's zones. So today you'll see last week's zones on my chart one last time. And then tomorrow, during this broadcast, you will see this week's zones. Okay? All right. Daily chart. Nobody trades a daily chart. What the heck am I doing? Fact finding. Institutional traders Look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has to do with account size and the incredible size they trade in. They're the ones who move price. So what I can train everyone to do is spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you trade, whether it's futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Look over the shoulder of the guys who move price. And then when you drop to your smaller time frame, just do what they're doing long enough to get your goal for the day. Kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. Some days. Now, what's happened here? We got a new all-time historic high. We know that. Okay. Then price pulled back to the BBC. Now, if you were listening last week, if you were tuning in, you'd have heard me say that I felt that this time the pullback might not hold. You see, when price gets below the BBC, we expect lower prices, but when it pulls back to the BBC, the green line, the pullback holds more often than not. This pullback held, but it ran into blue and climbing, which is support, and that got us above the BBC. Now we're expecting higher prices. So we get this big leg and then a retracement. And for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, the pullback held. Then we got another leg. And then again, we pull back to the BBC. The pullback holds more often than it doesn't. But and I won't go into all the reasons why, because I covered it all last week. I said clearly I thought this might be one of the times when price traded through the BBC. See how it did it here? And so here's what happened is back on Thursday, we came down and touched the 24% fib extension. We bounced back up to the BBC. And then on Friday, we came down and hit the 24% fib retracement. It's been a long time since that happened. Now, on a daily chart, when you hit a fib retracement, it will almost always give you a good bounce. But it bounced us right into resistance because remember, the pullback holds more often than not. So we've got support at the 24% fib in Friday's low. We've got resistance overhead at the step line, which is at the 38% fib extension. And then above that, the 50% fib extension. And blue and climbing has now turned to red and falling. So how we close today will be important. What's the most important is if we close below Friday's low, then there's every reason that we should go to this right here. Ultimately, I think we go here, and we may go much deeper. Okay? So, every institutional trader looking at their daily chart knew we had pulled back to a 24% fib retracement. Only natural will get a bounce. Some say that the whole fib thing, it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy because so many people believe that's what's going to happen. Well, I got news for you. Fibs are a very real thing. They're a part of nature. They're a part of your DNA. They're in a flower. They're in a pretty woman's face. Google it, okay? Don't spend 20 grand on that stupid software. But Google it and learn about it. And if you want me to teach you, that when you become a member, we'll talk about that in your one-on-one mentoring sessions. So we spiked the BBC just a little bit, but now we've pulled back below it. Again, how we close and where we close today will be very important and give us a pretty good idea of what we may see the rest of the week. Okay? At this red and blue line, it's called the CFMA1. I just refer to it as blue and climbing, bullish. red and falling bearish. Black line is a step line, and I can show you right here. When the step line crosses, see how the black line is on the left side of blue and climbing? And then all of a sudden it's on the right side of blue and climbing? That's an indication that price is about to pull back to the BBC. Does it happen every time? Very few things happen 100% of the time in trading. Does it happen more often than not? Yes, an awful lot. Okay, all right. So Mike will be joining us here shortly. So we'll go ahead and get started with the recap of the CTAs. And then when he joins us, I'll let him take over. And when he's finished, I'll come back and we'll complete this recap and wrap up with our good word for the day. So we had a gap higher open last night. And it looks like the gap closed to the tick. Now, that's one of the most high probability trades out there. In fact, I don't even bother posting them most of the time anymore because all of our traders just know. We used to talk about it a lot, but everybody's on the same page. So we gap higher right into the BBC. Now remember, these are last week's zones. Tomorrow you'll see this week's zones. We gapped up to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance. Remember, pull back. Whether you're pulling up or pulling down, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Okay? See, underneath, it held. Once we got above and pulled back, it held, and then it held. And because all of these candles are still touching the BBC, it's still holding. Now this is the 30-minute chart, okay? Resistance overhead, 55.91. If you're in a long trade, you should really think about whether it's a current high. 89, I'd be locking in profits, adjusting my stops. You do what you want. It's your trading business. It's just what I would do, okay? And then if price plows through red and falling like it's not even there, then I'd be looking to get long about 55.96 all the way up to 56.04. But you only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. And you see right here when we crossed above and we had the perfect stack, price, step line, blue and climbing, BVC. 55.73. Let's even go here. 55.75. 29 points up to the target. When the market finds resistance, it will go look for support. When it finds support, it will go look for resistance. See how we got this triple top here? Resistance sends us back to support. Support sends us looking for resistance. Will it be red and falling? That's the highest probability. But you have to embrace all possibilities. Price could plow through it. And as it approaches this long target, I would exit just to be safe. And then if price can get up here into this area, say 56.18, I'd ride that. 56.37. You got a new zone for the week though in here at 32.33. So, okay. Just remember, support leads to resistance, which leads to support, which leads to resistance, which leads to support, which leads to resistance. It's a never-ending cycle. It's been in place since the inception of the markets, and it will remain in place until the markets cease to exist. Why? because that's how markets work. On the Dow, wow, what a flatliner after a very active week last week. The Dow taking a breather today. Here's where we opened last night. We attempted to pull up the BBC, but buyers just weren't buying it. So we dropped to the zone, which we expect to be support till proven otherwise. So basically, price consolidated for many hours. When price encounters a weekly trading zone, now this is Friday, back over here is Thursday. When price encounters a weekly zone, and this is that missing data because of that whole CrowdStrike business on Friday. I was hoping that data would repopulate, but it never did. But when price got to the zone on Friday, what did it do? It consolidated. Last night, what did it do? Consolidated. Then it got up to the BBC and it consolidated. And then we had one little move up. It took us to 744. We didn't make it to the zone. What was the high over here? 7. Okay. But that was resistance. And where did it take us? Back to support. What are we now doing? We're consolidating. 70% of the time is consolidation. 20% of the time is rejection. 10% of the time is the slice. Okay? All right. Russell. Here's where we opened last night. Price was trapped. So you got blue and climbing in the zone here as support. You got the BBC as resistance. So from support, we went to resistance, and then we dropped to the short target, support. Support sent us up to resistance, sent us to support, would send us to resistance, where we consolidated, and we had a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, and a leg and a retracement, all the way back down to the short target. That support has now launched an attack to try to get to the long target. Before that can happen, we got to take out this high. So we've made it to the NQ. We'll stop here. Michael has arrived. He's going to give us a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes. Then I'll be back and finish up this recap and close us out with our good word for the day.
Hey, look at that. I just realized how high we were. I was looking at stuff. I took a couple of trades during the break, but I did it from my laptop and I didn't realize where exactly everything was. So this is all looking really good. From a bigger picture perspective, if you're long.
On the daily chart, we're about to run into red and falling. So
hang on, I got disconnected again.
That may nip it in the bud, I don't know. But
well,
I'll hit mute on my end and let you go to work.
Okay. All right. Let me log back in. And then I am logged back in now. That's good. All right. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to go look at what Dwayne just said, the daily chart. I'll get that really quick, and then we'll jump back in here. I was logged off because I logged on my laptop. Here we go on the daily chart. All right. I have red and falling way up here on the daily chart at 5666. Right now, that's my red and falling. That's on the ES though. You might have been talking about the NQ. And that is possibly true on the NQ. Let's go with the NQ really quick. On the NQ 30 minute, we are at the red and falling, but if you look at that on a daily chart, no, the Russell's not, I mean, the NQ is not about to hit that they might have been talking about. Hang on, I'll find it. He was looking at the Russell was the last chart he was looking at right there. And that one on a daily. Now the Russell, yeah, well, that's blue and climbing, but okay, I don't know. I have no idea, but anyway, move that back on the 30-minute and get back into what I was doing. All right, let me bring up the question box. I can't see it. Here it is. All right, bring that up here and here. All right. I keep saying that, thinking it is like the other one. All right, so the Russell's going up to a weekly trading zone right here. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 22nd day of July, 2024. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you'd like to, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on the purple button right here. When you click on that purple button, you're going to be brought to this registration page, I hope. Yes, this registration page right here. On this page, all of you ask for is your first name, your last name, your email, your phone number. Down here, there are 5 multiple choice questions. And if you have a NinjaTrade machine ID, you should give that to us. And if you do not have, if you do not have that, but you do have a TradingView login ID, then give us your TradingView login ID. If you have both, give us both, and we'll set you up with both of those for your trial. Okay, we did do that last night for one of our guys who's on the trial right now, and I don't know if he's in here right now. He's not in here right now. But give us both, and we'll set you up with both of those so you can get that running during your trial. All right. So we had a pretty good day today, but most of it was on the ES of all things. If you're going to look at the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 22nd day of July, 2024. Made 18 ticks on the NQ, 31 ticks on the Russell, and 50 on the ES. That put us at 870 on the morning session. Today it took 21 minutes. 21 minutes. Stop that on the first trade. And 5 trades to get to $4,750. Now that is $250 a contract. That was a lot because we got it with the 16 tick trade on the ES. We're up, I believe we're up 10 ticks on the NQ and we got 16 more on the ES. That put us at plus 250. And it took, we took a total of 15 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $6,897 over 14 business days, averaging $492 per contract per morning session. On the year now, we're at $53,982 over 134 business days, averaging $402 per contract per morning session. And if you were to go ahead and add 1 contract per month, starting in January of this year, you'd be at 7 contracts right now. Now you have to earn your way up to that. This is the 2420 blueprint. You have to earn your way up to the 1 contract per month, meaning you have to have $2,000 per profit per contract. So this month, to be able to go to 20 contracts in August, I need this number to be 39,000. It'll probably be that number tomorrow. So I have a whole bunch of extra that I'm going to have. Whole bunch of extra that I'm going to have going into next month. I expect this will be around 50,000 by the end of the month. That said, if you started with 1 contract, now you would be at 7 contracts and would have only had to work 45.68 hours this year, and the whole year, 45.68 hours getting your goal for the day, if you did it just like me. Now, I started in January of last year, so I'm at 19 contracts right now. That is where I am right now at 19 contracts, you see. And at 19 contracts, I am in the same 45.68 hours. I am averaging $6,622 per hour. Okay, in the same 45.68 hours, I'm averaging that much. So that's where you want to be. Slow and steady. Work your way up there, and eventually it just becomes second nature. You just put the trades on. You don't care about how many contracts you got on. All you're going to do is follow the same rules over and over and over and over and over again. And this number is getting closer and closer to what I wanted it to be. All right, as we wrap up this month, so far with $131,000 this month in the room with 19 contracts on. All right, I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to hit 7 figures by the end of August when we get to the 20th contract. The end of the month with the 20th contract. That's what I was hoping for. The 2420 blueprint. It'd be 0 to 1,000,000. All right. Hopefully it's going to work out. We'll see. Now, in here, the trades. Let's get into the trades. This is the YM. Now, we went from the YM to the crude. I want to say what Dwayne's probably already said a couple of times. The crude is in the U contract now, right? We rolled, I think, from the G to the U contract. I had crude up here and running for a little bit. I didn't take any trades here on the YM today. I rolled it. I had gone to crude for a little while. Who was it that was asking me the other day how to put these on here? These little flags. It's part of the context PP, and you have to have the context PP to get access to that. All right, and it's just a switch right down in here. It's just one of these little guys down here. This one right here. Show this recent swing high-low pivots on the chart. All right, that's how you put those on. Those are where the actual target lines come from, based upon where the last blue arrow is. So this last blue arrow was right here, so it looks over to the left, finds the most recent pivots, right? We have it set to 5 targets, so it's giving you all 5 targets right here on the YM. It's picking them all out for you, putting out the 5 targets for you. All right, we didn't trade the YM at all today, so I don't have any trades to actually show to you that we did take. I can go back and show you trades that triggered. I'll go back and do that with you, okay? Let's go all the way back here to the beginning. There was another thing that I never got to this morning that you guys may be interested in, and I see Dan B. Dan B, did you make it in this morning in the morning session? If you have any questions, I mean, if you have to respond to that, type into the question box. The only people that can see what you type in are me and Dwayne right now. We're the only ones in here. But that said, in here right now, on the YM, there were some nice blue arrows in here. And I'm only gonna look at the blue arrows, right? Maybe the purple ones too. More blue arrows. That would have been a nice win. That would have been a break even. Halfway through the morning session now, another blue arrow there, that would have stopped you out. That would have gotten it right back. And now we're getting into the break, the purple arrows, nice ones. It would have been, this last blue arrow right here was the last trade. Now, the targets that you see in here in the box, those targets are based upon the last blue arrow, right? The last blue arrow. So if we go to a minute chart, so we can do a bar replay, and we find the last blue arrow, that was a bearish arrow right over here. All right, if we do a bar replay and we bring it back here to this point, it's going to show red in the box. Should show red in the box. There it is, red in the box. Okay, it's showing all these targets on the downside based upon this blue arrow right here. Okay. So the targets in the box are based upon the last blue arrow. If it's pointing down, they're going to be short targets. If it's pointing up, they're going to be long targets. All right, so right now, the last blue arrow was a long, and it was something below 40,744. I don't know where exactly that last blue arrow was on the YM. 1 minute chart. Here it was over here. Okay, so it was looking up here for the next target, then the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. That's how that works. All right, just so you know, the YM, we did not trade it all today. It doesn't look like it. If we did trade it, it would have been on the 7 range. It would have had 10 tick stop, and would have had some pretty good trades in there, it looks like. Okay, this last one, notwithstanding. On the Russell now. Wait, there's something I want to go look at. There's something important that I want to go look at. On the Russell. This is the Russell here. We're going through the weekly trading zone on the Russell. The ES is another one that I want to look at on a 30-minute chart. Now, I was saying earlier, if we break up above this area right here, I was saying earlier, we should get up to this level. In here, I drew that circle in there. I said we should get up to that level. I didn't know we were going to get rejected that hard from that level, but I was saying if we get through all this, then the next one is all the way up here. Okay. We'll find some resistance here at the weekly trading zone. I suspect if we get up above all this, we'll find some resistance at the weekly trading zone, but I really want to see that move up and keep going and going and going. I really want to see that. And the reason I really want to see that, if you guys are Passport, then you have access to the options channel. And in the options channel last night, I had stuck this in here. Here, I'll make a screenshot of it for you. That was from the morning session. Here, hang on, let me make another screenshot so I don't have my comment about the top thing. There you go. I had stuck this in here last night. Now I actually made the comments in here earlier on where I had said after the markets opened up, I had said there was a gap fill that needed to happen down to 55.54 right here, a gap down to 55.54 that needed to happen. And in here, I was suggesting where your stop could go. All right, if you got into that. And I was suggesting you guys recall my webinar about trading micros instead of options because there's no time decay and they trade 23.6. They don't really trade 23.6, but something like that. They trade, they only have one down hour per day during the weekdays. And they start trading on Sunday night. So what I was suggesting in here was buying something down near the gap fill. All right. So I had my buy stop order waiting at 55.56. Oh, I had a bunch of them actually waiting down there at 55.56, and they did get filled, and I'm still holding on to them right now. And I had a feeling once it filled that gap, it took it a while to fill that gap, but once it filled the gap, it wasn't going to go too far through it. And the reason I put this stuff in here is because you could see where the stop should be. Now, the reason I was pointing this out was you can do this with the micros, but there's no time decay with the micros. Okay, like I bought options on Friday afternoon. I bought QQQ options Friday afternoon calls, and they expire on Wednesday. So I got to get rid of those things today. And they were up last time I looked today, they're up 158%. But I got to get rid of those today probably. I'm going to see how much higher it goes. I'm in the money right now, but I'm going to see how much higher it goes by the end of the day. I expect it's going to go up some more. But the money, being in the money is right in here. Well, it was actually even more than that. Being in the money for me today. So it had the QQQ had, I was trying to show you, the QQQ had a gap as well. And, if you join and you become Passport, then you get access to that options channel. I don't post in the options channel as often as I probably should, but you see this, it had a gap right here this morning. QQQ did, and it went way up here. That was way in the money for me, but I wasn't paying attention to it at the time. I would have bailed in if I'd have seen it. But that's actually not today. This is it today. Okay, so that would have been way in the money for me if I'd have seen that. All right, it was still in the money for me today, but it wasn't way in the money. It wasn't way up there. That's why I didn't see that today. But my point being, there are a lot of ways you can use the information that we have at our fingertips. And when you join with us, you get more than just access to the indicators, you get access to the communities. And in the community, there is the options channel. And I don't always post in there as much as I should. As a matter of fact, I posted this stuff in a different channel to begin with last night. I should have just posted it in the option channel. All right, sorry, I totally got it. It keeps happening to me. What is going on? I keep getting pigeonholed, not pigeonholed, but Rambo. All right, anyway, let's get into the trades that I did take care of. We took a couple of nice trades here on the Russell today, and you see I have a diminished set of indicators on here again, because I kind of like only having those on there, and I'm only taking the blue arrows, and I have the green arrows on here just to show something, but I was only taking the blue arrows and the purple arrows today. All right, I'll leave the green arrows on, but the trades that we did take on the Russell, our first trade was not there. It was not there. We had some really nice blue arrows in there, but I didn't take any of those. Oh, I had a lot. All right, our first trade was right here, and I took one tick on that one. And then I had a break even. Then I have a 10 tick that got us up to 11. And then I have the next trade that I took was toward the end, I think. You see there's some nice blue arrows in there. This one right here. Toward the end of the session, I took this here and I got 20 ticks that put us up to 31. All right, 31 on the Russell. Now, since then, there were some nice blue arrows in here. Now, all I was looking for in here were trades off the ribbon. Blue arrows off the ribbon. All right, either blue or purple off the ribbon, or just plain ribbon trades. They didn't even have to be blue or purple. Like this one right here. Didn't give you an arrow because it didn't come out of the overbought, but it did hit the ribbon and did not hit the black line in the ribbon. So that's a valid ribbon trade. That was right at the end of the session this morning, but I would have taken that if I'd have seen it. And this one right here, this is a ribbon trade as well. I would have taken that if I had seen it. And that one, the reason you didn't get a purple arrow on that is because the slingshot right here is not pointing in the right direction. Now you see I created this TIQ range scalper. TIQ range scalper this weekend. I'll get into that some tomorrow. But basically when it comes out of the overbought or oversold, after it's been in the overbought or oversold, it goes sideways a little bit out of the overbought or oversold with the trend, then it usually works out to be a really nice trade. And you're going to see some that actually happen, when you wouldn't normally take a trade. You're not going to get an arrow on it or something like that. You'll see those things, and I'll point it out to you guys tomorrow. All right, I didn't have a chance this morning. Everything was jumping around so much this morning, I didn't get a chance to really point it out. But that's something that I've created, that I'm working on, that I want to trade in real time, that I think you guys are really going to like. And that will also be for passport people. TIQ range scalper, it will be range scalper PP. I call it range scalper because it's only good on range bars. But the RTY in here, we had a short there, a long there, and a long there. Just the blue arrows. The blue arrows in the ribbon trades. There was one there, one there. Actually, that had the black line. That's not good. All right, and that's it. That was it. We ended with plus 31 ticks on the Russell. Okay, and then the ES. Again, on the ES, I only have exactly what you need to place a trade. I had a couple of really good trades here on the ES this morning. It started out with this one. Picked up 16 ticks on that, and that's where we got the goal for the day. There was a nice purple arrow right here that I didn't get. But as far as just ribbon trades, there was a purple/blue arrow right here that I didn't get. This is where I was saying this morning I expect price is going to go to at some point today. All the way up here to 56.31. If it's going to continue up and get through the 56.10 area, then 56.31 is the next level up as far as price action goes. All right, but moving along, I missed this purple arrow right here, but I grabbed this one. No, I did get that one. Sorry, I did get that one, and I got 18 ticks on that. That put us at 34, and then the next one right here, I got 16 ticks, and that put us at 50. So I had some really nice trades on the ES this morning. You see, it's continuing to give really nice trades. I just got a thing on the 30 range NQ by condition met. Now I'm gonna move that here and post it in the channel. My channel, where's it? There it is. Send it. All right. So as far as ribbon trades go, it just had another one right here. Now, along with this ribbon trade, we had the scalper. Seeing it go right there too. So we'll see how that works out. All right. That was the ES today. We ended up with plus 50 ticks on the ES. Now the NQ, we had some pretty nice trades on the NQ, but we started out, our very first trade on the NQ was a stop out. And it was in the market just a couple of minutes pre-market. But we'll jump back there. Dan, you said no. But you said that a few minutes ago, and I moved on to a whole other conversation. So what did you say no about? And Chris, aren't you glad you upgraded? All right, so this was my first trade here that I stopped out on. Bang, stopped out minus 20 ticks. And then I had a break even right through there. Missed some trades through here. I got this one here. I picked up 30 on that. That's where I got to plus 10. And then I had another break even right there. Look at that one. That one ran and ran and ran. I had a break even on that one. Then over here, I picked up another 4 ticks to get me to plus 14. And then I had one more small trade somewhere. I had a break even right there. Some decent blue arrows in here. That one, the outer band's completely flat on this one, so that I would not have done. Some of these other ones I would have done that and stopped out. I'm looking for my other trade. That would have been okay. That would have been a stop out. That would have been good. That would have been okay. Wow, there's a lot of bars in here. All right, there it is. I picked up 4 ticks on this one, and that got us to plus 18. And we had a big sell-off right at the end of the session where the European markets were closing. We had a big sell-off right here going into the European close. And since they closed, then the buying began again. All right, all through here, the buying started in again. And so this period between when the European market closed and well, usually between 11:30 and 12 is a transitional period. Response to your question, you're not in the morning call. Okay. Are you going to be in it tomorrow morning? Okay, good. Are you going to be in that one too? Okay. All right. Are you going to be in the one for the morning? You're going to be in one for the morning session tomorrow though, right? Each of the colored arrows and conditions there. I've been writing notes. There's, I'll send you a video, Chris. Okay. I think I said that last week, and I'm guessing I didn't do it. But I know I have one that I created probably last week, and yeah, we do it in the lesson plan. Let's see what the lesson plan says for tomorrow. Tomorrow, the lesson plan. Well, tomorrow I think the lesson plan is supposed to have alerts in here. I got to find the right lesson plan. I think I added alerts onto this. And because the alerts have everything to do with the ribbon, right? So tomorrow we're going to go into a lot of detail about it. So I'll record tomorrow's lesson plan as well. But I'm going to go into a lot of detail about all the arrows and what all the arrows are and how they're created and all that stuff. All right. So on the NQ during the break, wow, it's 1:16 and I haven't even started trading here yet. I'm still going over the morning session. On the NQ during the break, there was a nice blue arrow there, green arrow there, blue arrow there. Now this one would have stopped me out. We would have gotten it back on that one. Would have had a break even. Now, when you have 3 of them in a row like this, only the first one counts. All right. If the first one does not put in a higher swing, then nothing after it matters in that direction. Until you get a higher swing, nothing after it matters. All right. I mean, it's nice if you're in the trade and it's dragging out and you end up getting another blue arrow and it's trying to go long and it's trying to go long and it's trying to go long. It's nice to see them, but they're not secondary trade entries. All right. If you got this one and you're in it and you wrote it out through those 3, that's good. If you got this one, or if you miss this one, then you can't get in on that one. And you can't get in on that one. It's got to put in a higher swing before you can get in. Like this right here, put in the higher swing, then you could take this. That put in a higher swing, then you could take this. That put in a higher swing, then you could take this. That put in a higher swing, you could take another one. This. That put in a higher swing, you could take another one. Okay, you have to continue the trend. With every green or blue arrow, it has to continue the trend. All right. Wow, that was a lot of talking. Sorry about that. No, I'm really sorry. It's usually good information if I'm talking, but sometimes I do tend to get in a rabbit hole and babble. All right, so the scalper. The scalper is going to be a pretty cool tool. I think you guys are going to like. It's got to come out of the oversold, like below this or above this to give you the trade setup. And if you're with the trend, that means your ribbon is spread. Right? If the black line's on the right side in the ribbon, it doesn't even have to be spread. The black line is just going to be on the right side in the ribbon. You don't necessarily have to hit the ribbon, like this one over here. You don't necessarily have to hit the ribbon like you do with all the other ones. I think it's going to be a nice addition over time. I have to test it out for a while. But I would put the YM trade on right now, but I'm not exactly sure. I got a YM DOM run right now. Well, the outer bands are pretty flat here on this YM. It is a valid green arrow, except for the outer bands being so flat. Okay. All right. This green arrow right here is going nowhere. The outer bands are flat on that. The ES is trying to get up above. I want to see it get up above this midpoint right here, the weekly trading zone. The high. Well, this is not the high of the day. I don't know why that's saying high right there, because it usually only shows the high of the high of the window, and the high of the window is not right there either. But we want to see it. This is the ES, and we want to see the ES get up above 825. That is the high of the day. That is the high of the day right there. We want to see it get up above that level and keep going. It looks like it's gonna get through that. It looks like 5609 has got some good numbers at it. And I see that this is part of Wednesday's lesson plan, so you're gonna want to make sure you get in there on Wednesday. But 5609 right up here has got a good number at it. You'll see it in a minute. Price is going to try to get up to that. That is actually in Thursday's lesson plan, not Wednesday's lesson plan. Sorry about that. What we do have going here in this lesson plan is not this lesson, Wednesday's lesson plan is leg lengths, and that's what's starting to trigger in right now. All right, the pullbacks are pretty small right here, so it's weakening right now because you have multiple small pullbacks. So it's weakening. It's not giving you one big leg like that, but it's okay. I think it's going to make it 5609 is where that number was. So I'm just going to highlight that area right there. That's what price is trying to get up to right now. All right, it's 1:20. I only have 10 minutes to actually put some trades on now. So let me stop talking and start trading. The Russell's pulling back down to test the ribbon. We're oversold right here. So if we were to pop up off of this level right here without touching the ribbon, we would have a black arrow if it came out of the oversold, right? You'd have a black arrow on that. And we have a green arrow here, but the outer bands are completely flat. So we're going to leave that alone. See the last one here, the outer bands were flat. Last one over here, the outer bands were flat. You want to wait until you get some trend here on the NQ. Right? I think it's resting right now because it had a big run up and it's taking a little bit of a break. If we crunch this up, you can see that it had this big run up right here, and it wouldn't surprise me if it pulls back all the way back down to here to 946.5 right now. Okay, that wouldn't surprise me too much if it all the way back down to there to 946.5. Right, so we are pulling back here to test the ribbon on the ES. We did put in a higher swing. We're testing the ribbon right now. We've got a low here of 2.25. 2.25. So you would be buying 4.25 right now. It's got a low here. Now it's got a low. Is it still 2.25? Or is it just 2? The low is 2.25. Okay, so we'll be buying 4.25 on that. 4.25 on the ES. Here it is. Okay, so as long as that low stays at 2.25, then that 4.25 is a good spot. All right, but if price drops below 2.25, and then we'll have to drop this order down a little bit. Now, the reason you can use a buy stop limit is because I know how big this bar is going to be. And I know that if it closes at the top, it's going to be a long trade. Right? I know that right now. I know all those things, all those conditions exist right now. If this bar closes up without going down one more tick, it's going to be a valid long trade. So I'm being proactive and I have my order in place right here. So when we get the up close, going to happen right there, 04. It should fill me at 05, 0.25, sorry. It should fill me at 0.25 and it slipped me 2 ticks. Okay, and it's been slipping me 2 ticks a lot lately, but after 4 ticks in profit, we're going to bump the stop to break even. Okay, there's 4, stop to break even. Now, that number that I gave you a minute ago is going to come into play. This number up here that I gave you a minute ago was 609 is going to come into play. All right. Now, my target is way up here at plus 30 ticks, but I'll drag it down there to 609. Okay, and this, step by step, is how to use range bars and how to be proactive with your orders based upon the range bars. 2 ticks to slip on this. Otherwise, I'd had my stop and break even a minute sooner. But that 609 number, you can't see it yet, but that's going to be an important number when it gets up there. Okay, and so this is exactly how you manage your trade from start to finish so far. All right. This is the high of the day right here at 8.25. Now the swing high is right here where it's at. Usually when it gets to the swing high, I trail the stop pretty close because a lot of times it's going to stop right at the swing high, but I think this one's going to go through the swing high and go right up to our 609 number. So I'm going to give it a little room to breathe right here. Okay. We have 2 ticks locked in with 19 contracts on. That's 25 times 19. You can do the math. And if I get out with that amount of profit, that's good. I left some on the table, but I don't really care about what I leave on the table. You know, I can't be bothered with what I leave on the table. I'm always more concerned with, what the result was at the end. All right, and I'm sure I just got some slippage on that too. But it's still gonna go up there. This is why I usually trail my stop when it gets to the swing high. I usually trail my stop closer. I really thought it was gonna go right through on that one, but it pushed it back down. That's why I trail my stop closer when it gets up to the swing high usually, all right, because it pushes it back down at that level. But we did get a little bit of profit on it. A little bit of profit. All right, so if anybody has any questions, you just type them into the question box. The only people who can see your questions right now are me and Dwayne. Okay. And I want to let you guys know, if you have any questions for me, if you want to set up a meeting with me, like Dan B, if you want to set up a meeting with me to make sure your desktop is set up right or anything like that, all you have to do is let me know. My phone number is 617-943-3298. You can text me at that number. Okay, you can text me at that number. Any of you guys, if you want to set up a meeting with me, just text me and let me know. Okay, any of you guys. Rico, there was something I was thinking of this morning. I wanted to show you. Maybe it had to do with the scalper. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, I'm sure it'll come back to me at some point. But we are going to put in the higher swing. We are going to get up to 609. Almost sure of it. Almost. See the number up there at 609? See it, watch. There it is right there, that big number. Thursday's lesson plan. How to read the DOM. How to read the DOM. Okay, so we just went through there a little bit. And that's all we really have for trades. The outer bands are flat here. They're flat here, and they're flat here. The ES, this is really odd that the ES is our biggest gainer, and it's the only market that's really giving us any trades right now. But we are at a significant spot here in the bigger picture. Let me bring up the bigger picture for you one more time. Okay. Let's bring this up one more time. This whole area right here where it's sold off of significantly. This gap down, we filled that gap this morning. We're actually just getting through that gap right now. And if we do get through that gap, meaning we get up above this level right here, which is what I think we're going to do right now. If we get through that gap and we get up above that level, it is clear water from here all the way up to here. That's a woo spot. A woo spot. No, it's a window of opportunity. That's what woo spot means. Now the problem is getting into that window of opportunity. All right. A lot of times it's going to get to it and it's going to bounce off it. But if it does get into it, what you have to look at, I mean, this is, I just kind of eyeballed this, but look at halfway through the woo spot is one thing. Okay, now I'm just eyeballing the woo spot, but halfway through the woo spot is one thing. That would put you right here. Okay, right about there. Now, if I look at this in the future, I'm not going to really get what that's about, but what I'm looking at, you know, I scalp in the morning. I trade the smaller time frames and I scalp in the morning, but I know how to trade the larger time frames. And what I'm looking at is this right here. From this point right here, which is pretty much the top of all this, up to the top of that right there. If I do it the other way, right in there.
Michael, I would recommend right there that you just went over that red candle with the wick sticking up. Go left.
Go left. This guy.
No, left. It's going to be up above that zone you've got.
Oh, up above this. Oh, this guy over here. You mean?
No, keep going left.
This one.
Right there.
This one.
You just touched it. You see that wick?
Oh, that guy. Yeah, the wick down here at the bottom.
Yeah. My window of opportunity would be above that wick, up to the high of the previous candle. I'm just.
And that's pretty much what I drew.
Okay,
I just moved
the problem
this. I moved it a little bit sideways when I
you
moved
have
it
a
over.
bearish cross right in the middle of that.
Right here.
Yeah.
Is bearish cross. Right there.
Bearish cross. I don't know what I said.
That's a sweet spot right there. Now, that's pretty much what I said too, Dwayne. I was eyeballing it when I drew it over here.
Okay.
But it would go from here, right there, up to right there is what the sweet spot would be, the woo spot. That's what I was saying. And that's pretty much the same thing that Dwayne just said. Yeah, he was saying from right here. Right, and I was grabbing it. If we get through all this consolidation right here, we're right at it right now. And the candle just closed. The 130 candle just closed. That's not a really bullish close candle, but if we get through this right now, then we get into the woo spot. We get into all this stuff here that should make it a pretty easy ride all the way up here.
So you got to get above that swing high at red and falling.
Yep.
Right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, right in here. Right here.
That up to the zone is a valid trade. And then above the zone, you've got a bearish cross, which is resistance 9 out of 10 times. So anyway.
Sure. Let me go in here. No, that's okay. That's okay. It was good stuff. And I'm at the end of my session anyway, so I'm gonna kick it back to you in just a minute. I just want to make this green here. I know that this bugs the crap out of Steven when I don't have the same color as you do. And it's a valid gripe, I guess. The BBC is this green line right here. Okay. The BBC is the green line. And the cross that Dwayne was talking about was the MA1 over the BBC right here. Right. We almost had another cross right here, which is really kind of creating this whole area of resistance that we're at right now.
Exactly.
If we break above that, that is going to be bullish, really bullish.
Up to the zone.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy to get up to this weekly trading zone. If we break up above that,
once we take out that previous swing high you were just pointing at a minute ago.
Right over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
2 points above that, up to the zone, good as go.
Mm-hmm. And then we have the midpoint of the woo spot, which is right in here, which puts us right over here. And then once we get through that, we have the other half of the woo spot, which puts us up to the swing high over here. All right, that was a lot of information. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, let me show you how to do that. Did I take a trade in here this time? I don't remember if I did or didn't. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click the purple button right here. There's no credit card required for the trial. All right, click that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page right here. Right here, just fill out this form. You fill out this form. All we ask for is your name, email, phone number. There's 5 multiple choice questions, and then down here, if you have Ninja, give us your machine ID. If you have TradingView, give us your login ID. Give us that information, and we'll get your indicators indicating for you as quickly as we can. All right, do that, and you'll be all set up and ready to go. And that's it. With that, I can pass it back out to Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A. Thank you. Contact me about after that. Okay. All right, Dan. That's fine. Yeah, I have 2 of those tomorrow. I have 1 tomorrow, 1 Wednesday. But all right, we'll pass it back out to Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A overlooking South Mountain.
Recap of the morning session.
Today, Dwayne, we ended up with a whole bunch. It took 21 minutes and 5 trades to get to $4,750.
Great way to start the week.
It was indeed. All right. Thank you, everyone. It's all yours.
All right, guys, we're going to move through this quick. I gotta go. On the NQ, we made it up through the ES, the Dow, the Russell. Here's the NQ. Here's the open last night. The CTA targets came out right at the open. We moved higher. Then we got a retracement, but not quite enough to fill the gap. That's an unfilled gap. Very unusual. Okay, price then consolidated sideways, got above the BBC, and began its move, perfect stack, price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. Now, we wanted to see price get above this swing high. So these vertical lines separate today from Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Remember, these are last week's zones. The new zones came out this morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And so on tomorrow's broadcast, you will see this week's zones. But as you can see, last week's zones are still doing what they're supposed to do, providing resistance as price moves up to the zone. So once we took out this high right here, okay, that would have got you long, maybe 19,845. So let's call it 50, let's call it 70 points at $20 a point, $1,400 per contract traded. But it kept going right up to the zone. When the market finds resistance, it will go look for support. Remember, the pullback to the BBC holds more often than not. Support will then send the market looking for resistance, which it has found at last week's zone. Okay. Now, again, this is today. This is Friday, where we lost a lot of data because of that CrowdStrike thing. Okay. Thursday. Okay. That's how the market found support at the zone, and it finally broke through. But go back to Wednesday, where the market finds support at the zone. At the zone. Remember, 70% of the time when price encounters a zone, you're going to get consolidation. 20% of the time, you're going to get rejection. 10% of the time, you're going to get the slice. That's when the 30-minute candle slices through the zone like it's not even there. When that happens and that slice runs out of steam, price will typically retrace right back to the zone it sliced through like it did here and continue in the direction of the slice. What I'm saying is only one of three things happens when price encounters a weekly zone. Once you learn that, once you understand that, the zones will become one of the most important tools in your trading toolbox. Okay. Now, notice, go back to the BBC. Okay. We had the step line, cross blue and climbing. Got the pullback. But now what's happening is that red and falling is curling up. So does that mean there's a potential for price to break up through this zone? Yes. But right here, you've got a bearish cross, potential resistance. Then you've got this swing high right here, potential resistance. And then this high, potential resistance. Now, in between those areas that I said, resistance, 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 those are windows of opportunity. And that's what I use the Logic 247 alerts to teach you how to read the chart, how to understand what price is doing, how it's flowing, why it's flowing, what its objective is, and what you should anticipate happening next. Right now, look for a potential drop down to blue and climbing, potentially. If we don't get the drop, if we punch up through this area, then this bearish cross right here, and almost always count on that being good. You should always count on it being good resistance if it turns out not to be. Now the opposite is true of a bullish cross. Okay, see this bullish cross right here? This is where the red line gets above the green line. I'm sorry, the blue line gets above the green line. It's a bullish cross. So the first time price revisits this area right here where the bullish cross took place will almost always be good support. In fact, this low right here was just above where the bullish cross took place. I can't teach it all to you in one afternoon, but if you become a member, you will learn everything that I can possibly teach you. Crude oil, we're now on the U contract. Okay, here's where the market opened last night. Ran up to resistance. Remember, the pullback to the BBC holds more often than not, and price always reverts to the mean. We had just pulled up to the BBC when the market's laws of data back on Friday. Okay, and then price dropped right down to the zone where it found what? Support. So coming off of Friday's low, we bounced up to the BBC, which we expect to be resistance, and it was. And it sent us where? Right down to the short target. Support. Support then sends the market looking for resistance. So we've been consolidating at the BBC here now for hours. We've got blue and climbing below us. So far, it has not managed to push price higher. Okay? Should price start to move higher, you got to watch this area here as potential resistance, this area here as potential resistance. And in between those two areas, like 78.85 to 78.95, beautiful window of opportunity. All right, go. Here's where we opened last night. Ran right up to the BBC resistance, which sent us down to the zone support, which sent us back to resistance at the BBC. And this time we sliced through the zone. And this is one of the, now you can see that we attempted to pull back to the zone we sliced through, okay? But it didn't happen. There wasn't enough buying pressure to do it. So what do? We drop to the short target. Support sends us to resistance at red and falling. Resistance sends us to support, which if I scrolled far enough left, I could show you why that's support. Support sends us to resistance. Resistance will now send us to support. Red and falling has gotten directly below price. So has the step line. That could be potential support. That could be potential support. I would let price get down here, 23.84, and trade it down to the appropriate zone for this week, whatever that is. Whether you're a member or a trial member, you have the current weekly zones. And if you're like on the trial, I'm like, well, gee, I don't have any zones. That's because you haven't installed Telegram yet. Telegram.org. It's free, it's fast, it's secure. It's the heartbeat of our community. Take whatever time you need to get signed up. Then Valerie will send you the links, which she's already done. She probably didn't know what they were. And those links will get you into the discussion group, the alert trial discussion group. You'll get into the alert logic 247 channel. You'll get into the alert weekly trading zone channel. Be able to see the CTAs when they're published every night. Take advantage of every resource at your disposal during the trial. Because you're not going to just take another trial next week. That's not how we roll. Okay. All right. From gold, we go to silver. Silver got pounded. Here's where we opened last night. This candle ran right up to the BBC resistance. What's resistance do? Sends us to support. Which sends us to resistance. Sends us to support. Which sends us to resistance. Which sends us to support. Back to resistance. Back to support. Now, we've got to change. Notice, red and falling became blue and climbing. We got above the BBC. Now, why did price stop there? Let's look at the horizontal line of my cursor. Let price get up here to about 29.43 to 49. That would be 6 pennies. That would be $300 per contract traded. And you should expect price to stop there because you got a bearish cross right there. See it? So don't push it to 49. Go 47. Remember, you only need 2 pennies with silver to get your goal for the day. That's it. 2 pennies. And the euro. Euro pretty quiet. We opened last night. We made a run at the long target. Fell short. Came back down. Now, this zone is 065/070. That low is 075, so we missed it by 1 tick. Support sent us to resistance, resistance sent us to support, and support is now attempting to send us resistance. Okay? We trade every market exactly the same every single day. Fast day, slow day, up day, down day. We are the constant integer in the equation. Price on the daily is spiking the VBC. Now remember, I said overhead resistance would be at the 38 fib extension, step line, 50% fib extension, red and falling. As we move into the close today, if you see this green candle start to shrink and show a lot of wick, know that number one support is at the low of the day, and then the low of Friday, and then the low of July 2nd, and then the low of June 14th, and then you're at 38% fib retracement. This is the first time we've had a 24% fib retracement in quite some time, okay? And we would expect to bounce off that. But it's a pretty muted bounce at this point. That can change. You've got to embrace all possibilities. You have to have a battle plan if the market drops or if the market rallies. It's going to do one or the other. I mean, it may consolidate for a day, but eventually the market's either going to move higher or lower. So you plan your work ahead of time. And you can sit back, feet on your desk, wait for price to get to the window of opportunity, and take your range chart, execute the trade, and you're done for the day. To become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. If you don't see a buy now button, call 949-42-EMINI. And if you don't get a live person, leave a message, I want to become a member, or send an email to support@cfrn.net and simply say, I'll become a member. 9 out of 10 new traders fail. Why? Because they don't have anyone to teach them how to read the chart and then learn how to trade. Most new traders don't even know that they need to learn how to read before they can trade. So we put a lot of emphasis on our live training room. 2 hours of live trading in an interactive environment every trading day. Putting on, taking off trades live in real time, explaining every move we make, every trade we take, and the rule behind it. While you trade along in your demo account so that you can qualify to go live and asking every single question that pops into your head. Your questions are never an interruption of the live training room. They're the purpose of the live training room. So hey, while the sun shines, ask the questions, get the answers. The answers to the questions never change. Okay? Now, if you're becoming a member, you're going to get all of this. You take the trial to get all of this for 5 days. Will you be able to absorb and learn all of this in 5 days? No, but you should at least check it out, okay? Along with 2 hours in the live training room, you see futures trade around the clock. So what do? Sit around the other 22 hours of the day and pick our nose? Not at all. One-on-one private mentoring is yours as a member, as a passport holder, at no additional charge. The strategy you learn and the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets, all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. As a passport holder, you'll also get the Logic 247 alerts, learn how to read a chart. You'll get the concierge trade alerts, weekly trading zones, be able to attend the Thursday night members only workshop. And you'll get the golden key that allows you to go in and watch previous archived workshops. Do you have to or need to? Not really. Just show up every day. Do the work. Ask the questions. You can get there. You're not going to get rich overnight. But if you participate 100%, potential for you to get there quicker or sooner than later is extremely high. Now, does the passport guarantee you'll become the 1 out of 10? Far from it. Passport guarantees that you'll have all the knowledge and all the tools that are required to be successful. But what you do with that knowledge and what you do with those tools, we have no control over. Are you going to develop discipline and patience? We're going to encourage you to. We're going to teach you to. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. Now, when you're on the trial, you can talk to all of our happy camper traders who have done all the things I just said and are now profitable. Some of them struggled for years before they found someone who would actually teach them how to read and then how to trade. MyTradingIQ.com, 949-42 Emini, support at CFRN.net. Okay, let's get to our good word for the day. Now, Friday we talked about simplifying your life. Today, onward and upward. Philippians 3:14. I press toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God. To fulfill God's will for your life, you must do these things. 1, move to a higher level of faith. See Romans 1:17. Before David killed Goliath, he first had to kill a lion and a bear. And today we're contending with issues that require us to trust God in a greater way. 2, seek God's guidance about each situation that arises. Proverbs 3:6. Do you need his help picking out which tie you're going to wear today? Well, I'll leave that between you and God. Hopefully you understand what I mean. His promise is, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. He's watching you. You can't escape his eye. Number 3, get into proper spiritual alignment. God is aligning his people and putting together those who will stand as one on the day of battle. It's imperative to know who you can trust to go into battle with you. And you only discover such people in times of testing. Joshua 8:1. Number 4, know God's will for your life. God doesn't play hide and seek with his will. It's only as you spend time with him that you discover it. And when you do that, your life will go from one where you just survive to one where you thrive. Number 5, fight using God's Word. The God-breathed words found in Scripture are your strength in times of difficulty and testing. Jesus used Scripture to put Satan to flight. It's in Matthew 4. And the weapon of God's Word still works today. Number 6, don't be unduly introspective. Only the Holy Spirit has the ability to search and know our hearts and minds. John 16:8. And when God is ready to reveal areas that need correction, He will. Until then, keep moving forward in faith. And last, number 7, guard your mind. Make it a walled city that refuses entry to negative thoughts and harmful influences. That's Proverbs 4:23. Now, let me linger on number 7 for just a moment. The TV shows you watch, the movies you watch, the secular music you listen to, the Grammy Awards, that hopefully you didn't see that demonic worship at the last Grammys. What you let in is going to affect who you become or who you are. Now, I'm not saying you can only sing from the hymn book and you gotta wear a buttoned-up collar with a tie. You know, I'm not saying become a stiff-necked religious person like the Pharisees. But be mindful of what you let in. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. Pure things, the things of God in, that's when your life begins to thrive. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue richly bless you with His mercy, with His grace, and I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.